and welcome to Football 301. I am your host, Nate Tice. We got the Week 12 preview today, the Dirty Dozen. That's how far we are into this NFL season. To help me do that, like every Thursday, to preview the NFL, because we're so excited about it again, my guy, Mr. Forverts, Charles McDonald. How you doing today, Chuck? How's your week been?
Oh, wow. It's been a week.
He asked knowingly.
It's been a week. Look, I'll tell you, it's never a good thing when the first thing you see when you open your eyes is a text from our friend Bomani Jones making fun of you for other people making fun of you. But I'm all right. You know, in a week, as you can attest, as someone who has met these people, I'm going to go home to my white ass family and my white ass girlfriend with no father, because I don't have a father either, according to the internet, and I'm going to cry alone at Thanksgiving dinner. So, other than that, pretty good.
So, some people are probably like, "What the hell just happened there?"
Yeah, just go take a read through my mentions on Twitter. There's a lot of people who can't
Charles
who
isn't
can't
on
interact
Twitter
with
anymore. He barely even interacts with Twitter anymore. I don't think you've tweeted like over a year, right? And,
no, I haven't.
And there he is. People just yelling at him that I get tagged in for, because I'm in the video clip, talking about a certain Browns quarterback and just speaking a little bit of the truth that people don't want to hear. People are mad at you for stating facts, like not even facts about like, oh, he doesn't look great, all that stuff. Facts of literal facts. He's drafted in the 5th round, and people are disputing you on that, which I think is very interesting.
It's not real. Well, if those are the stakes, if you need to like traffic around and stuff, stakes is low, go ahead. Go to @4verts. I'm gonna go home and cry to my dad about how I don't have a father anymore.
But also, you got compliments on your hat, which was great.
I did. Yeah,
that was nice.
To Summer of Nine Crew. That was nice. Got in touch with the Summer of Nine Crew. They're gonna send some stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, he said he's going to send me a hat too. So yeah, shout out to them. That was pretty cool. I will say, and I was there when you got that hat, which I think was a nice little way to tie it all in and our old personal lives coming out professionally. So no, but Week 12, I thought it was a pretty clean cut slate of games to kind of focus on for Lost in the Sauce. We're going to do that with our 3 favorite games of the week. And then we have, something else. We have a cheat sheet item we'll get to the end. And then we have, because it's been a while, we got Slop Watch coming. We got Slop Watch to wrap up the show along with Hail Marys. It's going to be a very fun show for you today. But right now, start off the show like we always do. It's time to get lost in the sauce. This is where we deep dive on 3 of our favorite games of the week. So Week 12, starting out, Colts at Chiefs at Arrowhead. The Chiefs, the 500 Chiefs, are 3.5-point favorites against the Colts team with potentially, possibly, however you want to look at it, the best offense or one of the best offenses in the NFL, a defense that just got Sauce Gardner, and a team just coming off a bye week. And they are underdogs on the road against the Chiefs. The over-under is 50.5 points. So woohoo, strap in, can't wait. But we're going to start with when the Colts have the ball against Steve Spagnuolo and this Chiefs defense. What do you think about this side of the ball, Chuck? What do you got?
I think this year has been unbelievable for the Colts, and particularly Daniel Jones. Just as someone who covered him at the start of his career to now, I didn't expect this happening. I don't think a lot of people expect this happening, and the fact that they're even in this position is crazy. But there have been a couple cracks, I think, showing in the passing game, basically mostly related to Daniel Jones over the past few weeks, where this is a great situation for him. It's obviously the best situation he's ever played in his whole career, but still got some Daniel Jones tendency. When you go back to that Falcons game that they won, he was sacked 7 times in that game, and a lot of the times it seemed like he could have done a little something to get rid of the ball or make life a little bit easier. So I think in this game, when you just look, and I know a lot of it's anecdotal because they've only been an above average defense up to this point in the year. But when you get to Daniel Jones kind of dropping back against a Chiefs team that needs to stack wins, they have got to start winning today if they want to even make the playoffs, which is a crazy thing to say about the Chiefs. I think you just kind of get big and take the big game out of his hands, because that's one of the spots that the Colts do have an advantage against the Chiefs defense, where I use your little stat of looking at plays where they just have up to 2 receivers on the field, so mostly 21 and 12 personnel. And it's what you expect from the Colts. If you've watched them play, you wouldn't be surprised to know that when they have their big boys on the field, first in EPA per play, rushing stats, just dominant when they get big on offense. But the Chiefs on the other side, they're 25th in dropback success rate, 24th in rushing success rate. Just not quite exactly where you want to be going against an offense like this. And with the Chiefs offense, I'm still in on the Chiefs offense. I know they didn't have a great game last week. I'm still in this Chiefs offense. I think you just want to keep the game out of Daniel Jones' hands. You don't want to get in these situations where you're dropping back. So just get big and just try to beat them up, because that's what you've done best all year. And that's kind of what the Chiefs struggle with a little bit.
And in the weirdest way, this is almost a like 1 versus 2 in the AFC in some way, shape, or form. Like it depends what you look at. Like the Bills are up there too as well. I think everybody, not only us. On the Sunday show, I even asked you, like, spur of the moment. I was like, how would you power rank the AFC? And you're kind of like, I guess the Bills. And like, like it's just kind of like, but that's the same. And I've done 2 shows now this week, both Football 301 and another show where I was like, I think I'm the Chiefs. And then it's like, also the Colts are up there too, but like, any way you look at it, there's 2 of the best teams in the AFC. And that's why I think but I have more questions about this game than more like a preview of this game, because it's just, I want to see what the Colts do after their bye week. I want to see if the Chiefs kind of take that next step. I'm kind of with you. Like once we talk about the Chiefs offense, like where I'm just kind of like, I'm not out on this at all. Like it's actually a lot better than you would think, stat wise and eye test wise. Them and the Packers, I'm telling you, those are the 2 teams every week I'll rewatch and I'm like, oh my God, you're so much better than what I think on Sunday. But just focus on this side, Colts offense, Chiefs defense, all that stuff you mentioned, like got to look at it. I also was looking at, or just kind of trying to remember, Shane Steichen versus Spags in the Super Bowl, the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl, the first time. So that would have been the 2022 season. I'm not going to act like I know the Super Bowl number, Roman numerals off the top of my head. But so the 2022 season, in that game, and I remember this, and it's something I've been wanting the Eagles to get back to with Jalen Hurts, because I think it would help them, is tempo. Was that they used a lot of tempo in that game to kind of just make Spags simple. And I really like that. And they tested him deep. It's not like Spagnuolo is playing DB, but they tested the Chiefs DBs deep in that game, if I remember correctly. There's some play action shots. There's some go balls, one to Devontae Smith out of tempo. I can remember like it happened yesterday. Some under center stuff. So I was just thinking that I know the Colts offense right now is a little bit different, a good amount different than what they were doing in Philly. But I do think that there is like some things from that I'm looking at. I think maybe they sprinkle in a little tempo. I also think this could be a big Downs or Warren game for the Colts, because I've noticed that this is how the Chiefs just feel less effective as blitzers this year. Like numbers wise, that kind of bears it out. They've taken a step back as far as how they've impacted offenses as blitzers, but it's still always there. It's like, just because a bully didn't hit you that one time doesn't mean they're going to hit you the next time. Like just because you struck out Barry Bonds doesn't mean he can jack it 500 feet on the next one. But I'm wondering if the Colts, that's what I've noticed, that some offenses have really worked on a lot of outbreakers to take advantage of how the Chiefs are zone blitzers. Okay. So there's a difference between like man blitzing, like the Texans do, or the Lions do, and what and Broncos a little bit do, and what Spags and the Chiefs do, which is it's kind of more Flores as well. Just trying to think who else is in this, where they run split safeties and they run zone pressures. And usually the weaknesses of zone pressures is kind of the intermediate areas, or I want to say the stick area is what I call it, but it's like 5 to 10 yards in between the numbers and the hash. Yeah. I would say that's the area you attack, which makes sense. So think like defenders showing, they bail out of there. They're playing inside out. So if you run an outbreaker from the slot or from the tight end spot, that's what you can pepper. And I've seen some teams getting that to a little more. They're like, okay, George Karlaftis is going to just be hauling ass 10 yards outside from the line. Okay, we'll just, it's like, I'll just pepper him. It's like George, Karlaftis is playing really well this year, but it's just a physics thing. Like he's not going to be able to defend that. And so that's something I'm curious. Do the Colts do some more RPOs? They haven't done as many this year as they've done in the past. So do they get to more of that? Is Downs getting peppered on choice routes? Is Warren getting peppered from the tight end spot? That's kind of just what I'm looking for more than anything. And if I rewatched against that Broncos offense, the Broncos just hit their plays. And the Chiefs, though, down to down, were pretty dang good throughout that game. So they're like a 12th best defense right now, 14th. That's how I kind of feel when I watch them. Going against one of the best offenses in the NFL, what kind of answers does Spags come up with in this game? It's again, so it's more questions I have than like, this is what's going to happen in this game.
Yeah. This is like caveman-ish, but I guess I'm just wondering, like, can the Chiefs like just physically just get in there and hit them enough times where they can kind of stop the run and put them in bad situations? Because one thing I was looking at was just like early down run offense and run defense. The Indianapolis Colts on first and second down this season are averaging 4.4 yards before contact on rushing plays. Like, that's terrifying. Like, that sounds scary.
That's
like
half a first down before Jonathan Taylor even gets touched.
Yeah, before he gets touched. They're in their first in EPA, first in negative rushes, and the Chiefs are honestly close to the bottom of the league in terms of first down, early down rush defense. So that's one of those ways where the game kind of becomes simple, and like, man, are you going to just get your face in a fit and hit somebody and try to tackle Jonathan Taylor? Because if not, then like they can do those things where they sit on the ball, and Patrick Mahomes is not getting as many drives as he wants. Where I mean, that's where I get kind of scared about where the Chiefs are right now, because obviously they need to win this game, and I kind of do think they are going to, but this is a tough opponent to draw like right at this point in the season when you need it, because because the Colts, like, they can sit on the ball, and some of their strengths I think really align well for the Chiefs, or well for the Colts and poorly for the Chiefs when you look at this matchup.
That's kind of how I look at it too. I know that again, I'm kind of like, do you have any answers against this? Because the Colts, like, the things that get them is you try and turn Daniel Jones into pumpkin. How you do that is pressure. They're really well protected as far as their scheme. I think Tony Brown Jr. has done a really good job. The only times it's been discombobulated was the Rams and Steelers games. And in those games, it was because guys were winning one-on-ones. All right, the Chiefs have Chris Jones. So, okay, you got one guy, and George Karlaftis is nice. He's a good pocket pusher. I think he's had a real good year this year. But it's kind of, there's no one really on the edge where I'm like, oh, yeah, they can really get after, Raymond, at left tackle, Bernard Raymond. Like, that's what really was winning for the Steelers, was he was just not getting chip help, was losing one-on-ones, and then that was creating pressure. But you have to win one-on-ones. So that's another thing, is like, do the Chiefs have that? And if their blitzes aren't as good, this Colts team is good at answering against blitzes. Like you said, with the term I've kind of come to always is natural answers. The Colts just have a lot of natural answers on this side of the ball, even if I do think that the Chiefs defense is above average. And another thing too, I'm curious, this is kind of just what I've noticed too, is like how comfortable Daniel Jones is in the offense and how Steichen is using him. Like, they are doing some easy buttons with the slot choice routes and everything like that, some bootlegs, but now he's made design runs with Daniel Jones this year. He has 15 design runs this year. His last year with the Giants, God, that was
single wing offense, basically. Like, Dable would have whole stretches where they would run a single wing offense for drives at a time. I'm trying to remember which game it was.
All right, so he didn't play every game he played 10 games with the Giants last year, I think. That seems right. How many design runs do you think he had? He has 15 all this year. And he
10
played
games
about the same amount of games as.
I'm going to guess 65.
Yeah, 43. Design runs
43
in 10 games, and he has a third of that. A third of that so far this year. Like, that is, they have 10 games, the same amount that they played this year, and he has a third of what he had last year. And that's because, I mean, just watch how Dable, RIP, used Jackson Dart this year, which was just battering ram. Like, it was just crazy. I keep calling him Gron from freaking Lord of the Rings. They just use this guy as a battering ram. So I just kept thinking that's how Steichen was going to use Daniel Jones. Oh, okay, design runs, slot choice routes. And it actually turns out Steichen might be a better coach than Brian Dable and actually understands offensive stuff a little bit better. So, I'm curious if this is one of those games where we might see that sprinkled in just a couple times, just a couple zone reads, take advantage of some of the aggressiveness, some of the blitzing that the Chiefs do as well.
You got to be a little careful with these coaches that are on their last legs. So you look at what went on with Jackson Dart, Brian Dale. You see what's going on with Raheem Morris in Atlanta. You might want to let these guys go a year before it gets bad, and they're like doing anything to save their jobs, including putting the franchise quarterback in harm's way. Honestly, for both teams, because Raheem said Penix could have gone back in that game, which is, hey, Penix went back in that game, that would have been really, really bad.
And now he needs what? An ACL reconstruction? Oh, man.
Yeah. Also, I need to correct myself.
Oh,
yeah, we'll talk about the Falcons. I need to correct myself, though. It was actually 4.4 yards after contact. They're close to 2 yards before contact, but both are
okay. I was going to say
the yards.
Still, well, anything above 2 is elite. Anything above 2 is elite.
Yeah,
like I think the Bears lead the league right now, like 2.08 or something like that.
Yeah,
just regardless, that's why I know that.
The point remains: it's going to be tough to stop them, and you're going to have to be physical, and that's not something the Chiefs have always been great at this season.
And especially if the if you get the Chiefs' big bodies on the field, they just become so simplistic and stuff. So another thing also to look at before we go to the other side of the ball, I've noticed with the Chiefs defense, Brian Flores, the Vikings defense, and Todd Bowles a little bit. So like the blitzers, I would call them the blitzing defensive coordinators. Watch first downs and how much they blitz a DB on first down. And their stats bear this out. They have the highest blitz rates on I shouldn't say on first downs, drive starters. The first play of the drive. Watch how frequently they blitz a corner or a safety. I'm starting to kind of really realize that because what they're doing is trying to end the drive right away. Get that sack and boom, it's 2nd and 18 and we're done. Hey, might as well just turn the ball over. We're done. So just watch that though. I really have noticed that they've really ticked it up on first downs, on first plays of drives this year, or as they call it in coaching, P and 10 is what they call that. P and 10, first play of the drive.
Oh man, that's a throwback. I was like, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh, it's old school. That is, I mean, that I learned that a long time ago. P and 10, because I was always like, "What's P?" Because they would have the breakdowns. I'd be like, "What's P and 10 mean?" It means first play of the drive. Yeah. So just look for that. I noticed that's a tell with Flores because Ben Johnson really I would say abused it, but took advantage of it a couple times last week. I was like, oh, you had some calls here ready for those. Like, here comes the corner blitz. Here comes the safety blitz. Like I thought it was interesting, but so make sure to look for that. I'm God, this game is just so curious to me because I know the Colts are good, and I think the Chiefs are better than people realize because obviously they're Chiefs, but also their underlying stats are pretty good. So I'm just curious how they both kind of answer this bell. So let's go to the other side of the ball. Chiefs offense, honestly, one of the best offenses in the NFL. I know that doesn't seem that way, but they are. I know. And again, on rewatch, I felt a lot better about what they were doing against the Broncos than I did in the heat of the moment. Like they're drawing a bunch of PIs now this year. That's a big difference what they've done in the last few years. There's a bunch of other things. Going against a Colts defense that's more average-ish, slightly below average in some ways, slightly above average in other ways, but now has Sauce Gardner, which I think will be a very interesting guy for them. Already had some moments already, but what are you thinking about this side of the ball, which I think will be a nice proving ground game for both sides?
Until I started looking more at like the Colts offense, my initial reaction to looking at like where the Chiefs offense was, like you hear the Jaws music playing in your background. It's like, oh, they're coming. But Chiefs defense is going to have to handle the business. But if the Chiefs defense can handle their business, then man, I think this could be a pretty big game for Patrick Mahomes in their offense. And I think that the Chiefs offense is kind of interesting this year, like where some of their value has come, because a lot of their value has come on like 3rd and 4th down, which is fine. I think that's an okay way to live when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. When you look at 1st and 2nd down stats, they're close to like 7, but when you pair it all together, it's like basically just behind the Colts in terms of overall production on offense, which I know it doesn't feel like that sometimes. And especially when you come off a game last week against the Broncos, it probably doesn't feel like that either. But Broncos defense is a lot better than the Colts defense. And I don't think you're going to see the same problems in terms of like just gloved up coverage on the back end, the pass rush ability on the front end, and just all types of disruption where it feels like, coming out of that game at 19 points kind of felt like a miracle by the time it was over. But it's going to be a lot easier this week. And I kind of just wanted to focus on the Chiefs' like 3rd and 4th down performance this year, because the Colts have been really bad in those high leverage spots. Their successful play rate on rushing attempts on 3rd and 4th down, the Colts are giving up an 80% clip, 0.6 EPA per rush on 3rd and 4th down. So, sometimes like those aren't necessarily.
That's not what I would expect out of them. Wow.
Yeah,
that's
on the high leverage downs, they're giving up almost a full point of value per rush, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny because the Chiefs, they don't have the most explosive running game, but they have a running game that's perfect when it needs to be, right? So Kareem Hunt is,
yes.
he's not going to break off like those 30-yard runs maybe he was 6-7 years ago. But when it's 4th and 2, there might not be another person that you want with the ball in his hands right now, because he's going to get you those 3 yards and not a down more. When you get down to the red zone, the Colts defense on 3rd and 4th down, 31st in successful play rate. They're 29th overall in 3rd and 3 conversion rate. So there's some spots where I think the Chiefs can do some drive extendings of their own, because they have kind of figured out how to play, life on the edge on 3rd down, and the Chiefs defense hasn't been, the Colts defense hasn't been all that productive in this standpoint. So, it's like, man, they should score a whole lot of points, but it just matters like how often are they going to be able to hold onto the ball. I kind of feel that same way about both sides. Like maybe this is one of those situations where you look back and it's like, wow, each team averaged almost 3 points per drive, but the final score was like 24-21 or 27-24 or something like that. Because
right. They're moving the ball, but
I can't imagine a world where both of these offenses are like, or both these teams are cool with the other team just having the ball, because it's a bad situation on both fronts. But I do think it's a worse situation for the Colts defense than the Chiefs defense, even though the Chiefs defense has a little bit of a harder task this week.
I think you summed that perfectly. This was one of the harder games I've had in a while to preview, as far as where I had something definitive to say, because that's how I feel. Because it's just like I trust the Colts offense for the most part, but they just have some pumpkinness to it just in case, that I'm gonna keep my eye on. And the Chiefs, it's like, well, I can trust this run game in the weirdest way, even if it's not explosive. Kingsley Suamataia is also hurt. He has a concussion. But I do trust the run game. They have the lowest stuff rate by any NFL offense since at least 2002. So they don't take negatives. So they just stay ahead of the chains. And I keep comparing Kareem Hunt to old Leroy Horde, who's this old Browns and Vikings running back, because he was his famous line was, "You block it for 8, I get you 3. You block it for 1, I get you 3," or it might have been 4. But he was the classic guy, and that's what Hunt is for this offense. And their explosive pass rate is, I think, better. I know people see the failed deep balls. They're at the threshold to be a competitor. They're at 14% explosive pass rate. That's exactly what you need. 13.9. Okay, rounding up. But they have the highest rushing success rate for a Chiefs offense since Mahomes started. So his first year starting in 2018, this is the best run game as far as efficiency-wise. Yes, they don't get those explosives. They also have a low turnover rate, the lowest turnover rate that Mahomes has ever had as a starter. They get those stay on base, get on base, stay ahead of the chains run game. It's a weird offense that, I don't know. It's almost a little boring, but it works. And it's a little better than last year's version of boring, because they actually do have some speed. Tyquan Thornton still is their best deep ball threat, and I think he's legit good at it now. I'm willing to give him credit. It's not just a blip or whatever. Like Xavier Worthy, I'm just done with his deep balls because he just gets swallowed up like a sparrow with a hawk eating him alive. Like Riley Moss looked gigantic next to Xavier Worthy. And Riley Moss is like good size, but like he looked ginormous next to him. And he was just like, he got flagged for one. And it was like, he didn't do anything. Sorry, I'm over those deep balls to Xavier Worthy. It's just like, just go to Tyquan Thornton. That's it. I'm done with them. And Travarius Ward and Sauce Gardner both playing. Travarius Ward now come back from concussion. That's significant as well. But I mean, this Chiefs offense, again, I know sometimes you have to find a balance with eye test and underlying stats. And now we're getting a good sample size. Now we're seeing where opponents are as far as how much adjusting we have to do with how good an offense is, how good of a defense is. These are the top 2 teams right now in scoring rate on drives. Colts won, and the Chiefs are scoring on 49% of their drives. Like that's freaking elite. And I know it doesn't feel that way all the time, but this is why I'm not out on them. And I actually consider them more or less the AFC favorite. And I think that's why Vegas has them as 3.5-point favorites. I know some of that is, Chiefs are Chiefs, but it's like, they're a much better team than I think you realize. I know the Colts are too, but they're third in DVOA, all this stuff. I will say, might be a Travis Kelce game. The Colts are 31st in success rate on tight end targets this year. 87 plays. They allow, it's defensively, so I have to reverse this in my head. They allow a 62.1% success rate on tight end targets this year, which makes sense. Some of the linebacker play and everything in coverage and all that. So it might be a Travis Kelce game because now we got the healthy Colts corners as well. Yeah, I don't know. Again, I have more questions than the answers on this, but I do want to kind of emphasize that this Chiefs offense is a lot better. There's not as many I don't have as many concerns as maybe other people do, and where I think the sky is falling. I think this offense is top 6 anyway you shake it.
It's just weird because I find myself struggling with this too because I've never seen him in this spot before since Mahomes has been the starter. Like they're always 8-1, 9-2. Like at this point in the season, last year like 11-0, like screaming towards the end. And now they're 5-5. But when you just look at the overall performance, they're performing a lot better than like a typical 5-5 team does, which I know is not like conventional wisdom, but this team has about the same record as the Miami Dolphins. Come on now, like they're better than the Dolphins. I hope you do. I hope you do. They got a similar record.
You're listening to the show, you do.
Yeah, they got one less win than the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, they got one less win than the Panthers. Man, like the record is not always the cleanest, but they also it's also on them to get these wins across. Like what happened in Jacksonville is like inexcusable at the end of that game. If you are a team that's trying to get back and win a Super Bowl. And I really do think that's the biggest one. You probably can stomach some of those early season Chargers and Eagles loss, but like the Jaguars one is the one you're looking back at like, man, if we were 6-4 going to this game, you maybe feel like you could drop this one and still have a good chance to accomplish what you need. But now you're at a spot where like you need to stop the best offense in football, which is going to be tough. But hey, I am excited to see what it looks like with their backs like actually against the walls, trying to just make the playoffs. Not even try to like get a number 1 seed, just make the playoffs. So I am excited from that standpoint.
I am too. I would say my last kind of closing thought on this is that I think where you do feel a little bit where the Chiefs aren't normal is third down. Mahomes has just been so incredible on third down throughout his entire career. Him and Josh Allen just been incredible. Like he's had rates over 50% on third down, which is absurd. This year it's at 41%, which is like not bad. It's just like more like 10th, 11th, that range as opposed to 1 or 2. And so, they're getting all these short third downs and because they're just staying ahead of the chains, but they're just not putting over the top on third down. So it's kind of funny. Like that's actually where they've dropped off, which is more just, I think to me, if I'm just assessing them, it's because they lack size at receiver outside Rashee Rice and Juju a little bit. And Travis Kelce has dropped off just a little bit, so you're not getting those creation plays. So like that's the thing too, is like how they beat man coverage and all that. So that's the other thing kind of kept my eye on with them. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun game. I'm pretty fired up for this one. But predictions: Chiefs 3.5-point favorites, like I said, at home.
I think the Chiefs get it done on the last drive. Game-winning field goal as time expires. That's what I'm gonna give them. So I'll give the Chiefs win. Colts cover the spread.
That was my exact prediction. Same exact thing. Think this is think both offenses have some grinded out drives. Like I think this is going to be a lot of grindy drives, and then it's just going to kind of come down. Maybe that one turnover game, classic kind of who takes care of the ball. It feels like that, right? It feels like a playoff game of like who takes care of the ball. That's two good teams. That's how it goes.
I said this could be one of those games that's over in sub 3 hours. It could be.
Yeah. Pragmatic start. Yeah. I agree with that. Barnwell noticed this, but he had an article talking about kind of like contenders that maybe weren't or perceived contenders like being 500 at midseason or a losing record at midseason and the runs that they can go on. In 2019, that's when Mahomes got the injury on the QB sneak against the Broncos. That year, the Chiefs were 6-4 in week 10, and then they proceeded to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight games on their way to the Super Bowl. So that's the thing. And I think the underlying stats for this Chiefs team are actually better than that Chiefs team in the weirdest way. Not as explosive passing, but the run game is better, and defensively they're better. It's like wide open AFC. That's why I just you never count out the Chiefs, man, even though the Colts are good too. It's going to be a fun game. All right, we're going to take that first break, and we'll come back with a couple more games we're going to get lost in the sauce on. All right, we are back. Time for Bucs at Rams. The Rams are actually a touchdown favorite now. They are a 7-point favorite. It was 6.5 before, but now it is 7. A 7-point favorite, the Rams, against the Bucs. The Rams are awesome. I thought this is just surprising me. I'm sorry, I just have to reiterate. This is surprising me. Almost a touchdown favorite at home against the leaders of the NFC South. I mean, the Rams are that good. I think they are the best. I think definitively the best team in the NFL right now, and a pretty tough NFC that's going on. But they're playing the Bucs, who I don't know, man. Bucs are a good team. But let's preview this one. The over-under is 49.5. We'll start with when the Bucs have the ball. Charles, right. What are your thoughts on this side of the ball?
Okay, I'm glad we started here because I was a little confused when I saw the line. And then I cut it down to like, let's just look at the last month of football for both teams.
Here we go.
What if I told you the Bucs had the 30th ranked offense in terms of EPA per dropback over the past month? They are just 29th on EPA on all dropbacks over the past month. They're averaging barely under 4 yards per dropback. They've just become one of the worst passing teams in the league over the past month. Rams defense. Nope, that's a really bad matchup, I think, for where Baker is right now. Because we saw what happened to Sam last week. You saw what happened to Sam last week. Pretty good. And not only are they good, they're like, to me, they're one of those defenses that is like perfectly built to beat quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield. Like what we saw happen to Sam Darnold last week. Yeah, maybe you could move the ball. If you cut out, because I wrote about it, if you cut out just those 4 interceptions, on the 40 other plays, they threw the ball pretty well. But, on 4 plays, you lost 21 points worth of value with those interceptions. So that's going to be a killer. I don't think that Baker Mayfield is playing as well as Sam Darnold is right now. It kind of seems like since the Buccaneers and Seahawks played that game, which feels like a long time ago, based on where these teams have been. Yeah, they've kind of split paths on their overall performance. But, I mean, the 7-point spread, I guess if you're looking at it, is this offense has been really bad. Basically, since people wanted to call Baker the MVP, they've fallen off a cliff in terms of overall production on offense, while the Rams have only continued to get better. And then, you look at what the Rams offense has done over the past month. We'll get to that, but good God, they just look so scary right now. And I think if you're a Bucs fan, like the one thing you just hope doesn't happen is you just get into a bunch of 3rd and longs, or you get into a situation where Baker feels like he's pressing and you're down by a couple scores, because that's when this Rams defense is going to jump all over you.
Yep.
And I mean, come on, Baker's playing better, but we know he's Baker Mayfield. We know when a mistake happens, it could compound and cause big more mistakes as he's pressing. So I got the 7-point spread the more I looked at, because the Bucs, they really have not been playing good football on offense over the past month. I think all his Bakers fans jinxed him by calling him the MVP for so long.
I love it. You still can't get over that. The first month,
everyone already forgot that they did it. They already forgot they were doing that.
Well, yeah. I thought the craziest part was the pick against the Eagles, and then a week later, it was like the MVP talk still was there, and I was like, "Wait, what? What just happened? What happened in the game before?" And this is what happened. This is why over time you can win a game where you're living and dying off high wire, explosive passes, and scrambles. But this is why you look at down-to-down sustainability, and usually over time, especially when you go against better teams, that kind of makes it feel tighter, makes you feel like you crapped out. Like that's what it feels like. You just roll a 7. Because I'm with you that I didn't know the numbers were that drastic, but just even season-long rates, this is a bottom 10 offense, more or less, bottom 12. I'll put it. And I know they're had some health issues, but Wirfs has been back for a while. Now you got Gedeke back for a couple weeks. I think Bucky Irvin's still out. I get that, but it's not like Rashad White and Sean Tucker are just like the worst things I've ever watched. And also, Godwin, I think, is coming back as well. But they've had enough. Like Emeka Buka's been out there, and I think the defense still gives them chances. But yeah, this offense is 21st in success rate, 24th in rushing success rate, not bottom 10 explosive run rate, and then they're 9th in explosive passes. And that's how this offense felt, was just that it was like a big play to Emeka Buka, usually a broken play, an extended play, or a designer play, like in the high red zone or something of that sort. So I'm kind of with you. I didn't realize it was that drastic, that they were like truly like bottom 4, because I was watching that Bills game, and I know they put up points and they hit some big plays, but there was a lot of passing plays that was just felt off. Like it just felt like a guy wasn't open, or Baker was kind of doing his shuffle. You don't want the play to get too long for Baker. Like he is, you mentioned Darnold. Him and Darnold have different ways of spiraling. Baker's can lead to some good stuff. It's just Darnold loves the back throw. He throws behind his body. We saw it last week against the Seahawks, or against the Rams. He does that. Baker is, I'm going to gun this as hard as I can into a tight window with 5 guys, and I'm going to throw this thing. And it's one of the hardest throws you ever see. But when you do that and you're throwing it late, then it's usually like a PBU. Like there's the guy diving and knocking it down. Like that's what it looks like with Baker when it's not rolling well. But I didn't realize it was that bad. And also, because I was looking at this matchup, I'm really respecting the Rams defense. Obviously, Chris Yeo is my midseason assistant coach of the year, and I think people are realizing how good this defense is. I was looking what the Bucs are good at because this run game has been so weak this year. And a lot of that was because of the O-line injuries, and they just have fallen off. And that was what made this offense so good last year. Like Baker was knocked down, hit, or sacked at one of the lowest rates on record. I think the lowest rate on record since 2019, but at the very least bottom 3 or top 3, I should say. And also the run game was probably a top 5 run game. It's because the offensive line was so freaking dominant. And then this year, it's a bottom 10 run game. Anything you look at, like I just mentioned the success rate stats, you even look at DVOA, which has some success rate components. I mean, it's bottom 10 in that way, in that regard as well. I think it's even worse than bottom 10. But then I look at what are they good at? Okay, they're good when they pull Tristan Wirfs and they pull Graham Barton. Like the Sean Tucker long touchdown is the one that kind of stood out to me, but they really like doing this. They have 68 run attempts this year where they pull somebody. That's the second highest, second most in the NFL. They have a 47% success rate on those. Very good, top 10. 4.8 yards per carry, 6 explosive runs. And if I were to game plan against this Rams offense or defense, that's kind of what I would do. I'd be like, all right, let's block down. They like to kind of like, you make the run game boom or bust. They're going to be edgy. They're going to do some funky stuff, but they're a little light in the pants, and we can pin them and then pull around and we get guys out in space. Nope, not this Rams defense because they're very good. They have the 7th best rushing success rate allowed against pullers, 34% success rate allowed. Only have allowed 1 explosive run when the offense is pulling a guy in the run game. Just another thing that they can just do. Like, I know they like to go light bodies and everything, but they're sound. And they play tough and they don't get out of position a lot, even though they are kind of funky on that Rams defense. So like you said, like actually just laying that all out kind of lines up well for the Rams defense. And they have speed on the back end because they play so many DBs. Lake is hurt. I should mention that, actually. They have 3 guys that got put on our Quentin Lake, Tyler Higbee, and Rob Havenstein. I'll get more to the offense in a sec. But the other thing, too, talking about speed and talking about awareness and talking about good eyes, if I were to go against like a dime defense that does a lot of match stuff, I'd be like, oh, they're probably bad against scrambles because their eyes are bad. Nope. Rams are good against scrambles, top 10 against scrambles this year too. So it's another thing that you're taking away from the Bucs. Talk about those natural answers. Now you're taking away another natural answer that they got to this year. So that their pulls, which is their best run scheme, the Rams are good against. Scrambling, which has been huge for this offense. And Baker this year scrambled at the highest rate of his career. Take that away as well. Just every little component that they can get to, the Rams have an answer for. So I'm just really, really, also explosive passes. I just mentioned that the Rams had a top 10 explosive pass rate. Well, or the Bucs, Rams defense, top 5 in allowing explosive passes in a good way. They allowed the 5th lowest rate in the NFL this year. So I'm curious what we got. I'm curious what the Bucs, how they're going to try to answer this, because I just think that the Rams line up really well and match up really well against this Bucs offense that isn't as great as maybe you would think.
Yeah, because I was looking back at the Bucs when I saw like some of their averages over the past month. Like they're averaging 25 yards per drive, 1.7 points per drive. I'm like, man, I thought they were scoring more points than that. So I went back to the Saints game. They won 23-3. They only had 1 offensive touchdown that game. Anthony Nelson had a pick 6, and then they had a bunch of field goals, right? So against the Saints,
they got outperformed by the Saints in that game.
Yeah. They were 1-7 after that game. And you go back to the Lions game, they got pants against the Lions, and then they've kind of bounced back a little bit over the past couple of weeks. But think about it. Those numbers where you're looking at 25 yards per drive, 1.7 points per drive, 40% of their drives aren't even getting a first down. That's with them scoring 32 points last week against Buffalo. So it's been even kind of worse than you think over the past month. Yeah. You have one performance inflating all of that. So, man, I kind of expect them to kind of get destroyed now. The more that I talk about this, because unless you kind of get to a spot where Tampa Bay's wide receivers is blue chip, their DBs on the back end, and that kind of works out. Maybe you can score then, but I just don't trust against Baker Mayfield against this style of defense, because it seems like it never really turns out well for him. I don't know. This seems like it could get like dangerous for the Rams or for the Bucs pretty quickly if they get into a hole.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they can sustain a lot in this game. It's going to really come down to just a big plays, like which is kind of the story of their offense this year. I mean, even the run game last week, it was Sean Tucker big plays, which is like, it's just weird. I struggle to talk about the Bucs because it's like I felt like I thought I'd see more uptick. I know they've had so many injuries, and Mike Evans, all the receivers are hurt, Bucky Irving's hurt, and the offensive line, but they're getting healthier. And that's kind of the thing where I'm not, okay, here it comes. All right, not so much. Tristan Wirfs has been amazing, but it's like, all right, here it comes. Okay. Oh, okay, never mind. All right. So I guess I'm still waiting, but it's not really. This is the mouthwash week. This is another week where it's like, oh boy, and they're on the road at LA after they just went to New York. A lot of travel that's going on for this team. But let's get to the other side of the ball. Rams offense, Bucs defense. This is our house fight of the week. Yes. The Rams with their top 5 run game, pounding away with duo and now outside zone. They can get to all of it. They can get to tight end looks. They can get to 11 personnel looks. They are out with Tyler Higbee and Rob Havenstein. So it hurts a little bit of the Haasness. But then we got Vita Vea and the Bucs defense and their stout defensive front in this game. Should be a fist fight, at least in the run game. I'm also curious, what other thoughts do you have on this side of the ball? Charles McDonald.
Oh man, I know that like the Bucs defense has been good, like in spurts, but I think this is like again, I think this is a terrible matchup for them. Cause cool, like if you can stop the run, that's fine. But we've seen games where the Bucs have stopped the run and they still get torched because they're so slow in the back seven. I wouldn't want to play against this team when I get up slow in the back seven. I have no doubts that Vita Vea is going to do his part. And I imagine that running between the tackles will be pretty tough because like that's just a talent advantage for him against most offensive lines that he'll play against. But I think when you start expanding it and getting past that, Todd Bowles is like the best worst defensive coordinator, worst best, sometimes because it feels like,
or the worst best. Yeah, he's one of those too. No. Yes, I'm picking up what you're dropping there. Yes, all the
way. and this is one of the matchups where he just gets killed sometimes, where it's not easy, it's not clean, and sometimes like he'll get into these games where he's throwing these funky blitz looks out that are getting picked up, and then teams are throwing right behind it, and I think that we could see some of that here. I mean, just overall in general, the Rams offense has been incredible this year. If you just look at like the same time frame for the past month, they're first or second in just about every single stat, while the Bucs defense is, a little bit more, closer to above average. But when I look at just like kind of the specific personnel matchups, I don't know who in the Bucs secondary is going to be able to guard like the Rams' weapons that they have on the outside. Because we talked like last week about how like they're splitting Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams and where those targets are coming from, but who's stopping those guys in this defense? That's where I kind of get concerned, where you could have answers to stop their run. And I think, Vita Vea is so good and some of their interior line play can be so good that even the good rushing teams will get stumped. Like even the Rams who are one of the best rushing teams in the league in terms of like a per rush basis, they could struggle in this game. But once you get them into those long down and distances, what are you going to do about it? And that's where I just don't see the answers. Because also, as we talk a lot with the Bucs this year, you can just get them out into space, like with running back screens, wide receiver screens. And when those linebackers have to run out and make plays in space, that hasn't always been great for them. Like they allow a huge number of explosive plays, targets to running backs. Which is something that they could take advantage of. And even though they have a natural early down, defense by having Vita Vea, once you get past that, the good teams can really, really exploit this defense.
Yeah, I think you just run them side to side, get them outside. Yeah. I think there's a lot of outside zone. I think there's a ton of jet motion, which I know the Rams do anyways, but I think there's just even more of an uptick because you're just trying to capture the linebackers and get their eyes and then get Vita Vea moving side to side. You don't want Coleman Shelton walking down on Vita Vea 30 times. You want some help. You want Vita Vea slowing down. And I think anyone that listens to us or anyone that like laughs how much we bring up Vita Vea, that's how impactful he is. Like if you do not account for him, he wrecks your game. Like that might not show up in the stats, but it's like he destroys run games just by himself. And they can be big when they get into base, but it's so pickable. So I got exactly what you're saying. Like he's the best, worst defensive coordinator because he just has all these tendencies that you can just exploit if you're on your game. The Bucs out of base this year when they get into 4 DBs. And I know defensive and offensive personnel is a huge talking point this season, apparently, even though anyone that's listened to any shows that we've done, it's something that's been a focus on football for a long time. But the Bucs out of base defense this year, which you can get in because the Rams are going to go 13 personnel, and even with Higbee out, they still have 3 workable tight ends. And Parkinson and Ferguson, who might have a blow-up game this week. And what's the other guy's name from Clemson? Davis Allen, who they use at fullback sometimes, which is also funny because that guy couldn't block a soul in college, and now he's actually pretty good at fullback reps. So, go figure. You never know what happens with these guys. But the Bucs out of base this year, they've allowed 6.2 yards per play, most in the NFL. They've allowed 9.2 net yards per pass attempt, 31st in the NFL. 23rd in dropback success rate, 27th in EPA per pass, negative 0.31 EPA per pass allowed, or I should say 0.31 EPA per pass allowed. Anything above 0.2 is like an MVP quality season. So you do the math on that one. A 19.4% explosive pass rate allowed. 19.4. The Seahawks going in the last week had a 21% explosive pass rate, which was the highest this century. And they're allowing a 19.4% one. And they face a lot of passes out of base because there's a lot of offenses that realize they can do this. Second, and they are good against the run in these looks. So I think it's going to be a classic light bodies to run, big bodies to throw for the Rams in this game. And I think they're valid in doing it that way in any way, shape, or form. I will say, not to just kind of I know Bucs fans probably listen to this, are like, oh my God, do we even have a chance? I will say there is one little curveball that Bulls can throw in this game that he has thrown in the last couple of weeks, going against Drake May, then he went against Josh Allen, and now going against Matthew Stafford. That's dropping 8 in the coverage. We're not going to blitz you, and I think it's suicide to blitz Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams in this Rams offense because they're so good picking up the blitz. So make you prep for those blitz and then just only rush 3. Against Drake May, they dropped 8 in the coverage on over 19% of the dropbacks, second highest rate Bulls has ever done in the game. He did about 10% against Josh Allen, pretty high. And if you look historically, and I did because I'm a sicko like this, who he's done it against is like Drew Brees, Mahomes, and he's done it in the past against McVay offenses, both Stafford and Goff. So it might have been just like an offensive system thing. Any offense that has a little quick game in it, I think that's what he does it against, which makes sense. Breeze and all that. It's like a changeup, though. And I'm curious if he gets into that just to slow him down so they just don't get popped in the face over and over with these chunk plays. So I wonder if there's a 20% drop 8 rate in this game where they're just like, screw it. We're going to make you be patient. They did it against Josh Allen on 3rd and 3, and that was the deep ball that he threw. That was an unbelievable throw, or 50 yards on the move and everything. And it was hilarious because they dropped 8, and Josh Allen's like, oh, crap, okay. All right, I'm just going to buy a second. I'm going to buy a second. All right, launch it 50 yards. That's how you beat drop 8. You have to beat it over the top. It's like that's how you do it. You run on it, or you launch it over the top. So Stafford's willing to do that. So I think that I'm just keep my eye on that, whether that the Bucs kind of have a little drop 8 just to try and slow down this Rams offense. But man, I think I know where you're going with the prediction, but what do you got? Yeah. 7-point favorites, like I said. Who are you going with in this game?
Think we're in store for another crappy primetime game, my friend. I'm going with the Rams kind of blowing out Tampa Bay. ESPN Matchups predictor has the Rams with a 65% chance to win.
It's a division, a team leading the division right now. I'm also going with the Rams. I try to find ways every time I do these preview shows. I try to find ways that if I were game planning on this, and I'm like, man, just the Rams have just so many good answers for what the Bucs want to do. It's just nothing really there, So I'm also doing that. I also think the Rams cover as well. I looked up the historical rates of Todd Bowles for Sean McVay, and they stopped the run game. They only have a 32.7% rushing success rate allowed, but the passing success rate is almost 50% allowed. So I think he's going to attack them the same way that we're talking about in this game. That's how you have to do it against the Bucs. All right, on to the last game for Lost in the Sauce. This is the Steelers at the Bears. The Bears are 2.5-point favorites. Aaron Rodgers can't help himself. He's saying, I want to be friends with the Bears fans. He might not even play. Mason Rudolph might be playing. Who knows? But he's still kind of like, I'm not enemies with you guys. Let bygones be bygones. I know. I don't know why he's saying that. Going, maybe if he's looked at the Bears defense, the over-under is 45.5. We'll start with when the Steelers have the ball against this Bears defense. What are you thinking about this one, Chuck?
I think if you're a Steelers fan, you should ignore what happened last week with the Bears defense. Like what the Vikings are doing on offense, that's not really applicable to any other team. It's just like outside of Cleveland, that's basically it.
Right.
You might be looking at this a little bit scared, like, oh man, like Bears defense coming off a big day. I mean, I tell you what, if Aaron Rodgers was in those same exact situations that J.J. McCarthy was, the Vikings would have scored a whole lot more points than they did because there were opportunities there to be made, like wide open throws, all of the plays that were just being missed. So I think if you're Pittsburgh, like you should feel a little okay to kind of like stay the course and continue the success you had last week because the Bears defense is pretty bad. This has been one of the most surprising things of the whole season to me because I guess I was just off on what their talent level was, and the Dennis Allen coming over to from New Orleans, it hasn't mattered at all because they still are so. The third downs. But like on the back end, it just feels like they're so unsound, and it feels like they're always just like a hair away from giving up like 50 points in some of these games. But I guess if you're Pittsburgh, like you should be looking at some of that tape last week and say, if we can just hit some of those throws that J.J. McCarthy missed and kind of take advantage of their not ability, but like they give up a lot of big plays. The Bears defense does. They're 26 in explosive play rate. I know that the Steelers are 29th at 9.2, but there's opportunities for them if they can get DK Metcalf going and keep Aaron Rodgers protected. So, the third down stuff, they are good there, but first and second down for the Bears defense is so bad that maybe you can just stay ahead of the sticks and try to stay alive that way because I don't really know what answers the Bears defense has that they can give you in a consistent manner. Like watching Grady Jarrett last week against the run was painful, man. Like he can't. He doesn't. The juice is gone, and he's still playing a fair amount of snaps. And a lot of those plays are just like negative reps, and it kind of compounds when you can't stop what's going on in front of you, and then the linebackers get muddied up, the DBs get muddied up, and it becomes real easy to kind of call a game against you. So. I think Arthur Smith will be able to do enough for them to score points in this game. It could still look ugly because it's kind of the nature of their offense, but I just don't trust this Bears defense to have enough answers after watching that tape again last week. Like a competent quarterback could score 40 in that game, and I don't really know if that's an exaggeration.
It's just that they're so unhealthy. Like, all right, so this is the Bears injury report this week. Jaquan Brisker did not participate. This is just Wednesday. Brisker did not participate. Byard did not participate. Rest. I'll give him that. Tremaine Edmonds, groin, did not participate. TJ Edwards, hand and hamstring, did not participate. Grady Jarrett got the old man rest. Noah Sewell, elbow, did not participate. So that's the linebackers did not practice on Wednesday. So going against a team and a quarterback that's targeting at one of the lowest ADOT rates in history, targeting underneath at one of the highest rates you'll ever see, ever, period. And now you don't have basically your whole back seven because now, Tyreek Stevenson and Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon are all limited participants, but they're still missing a lot of guys on your back end, and especially over the middle for a team that targets nothing but tight ends. It's DK Metcalf, and then check downs to running backs or something to tight ends. Guess who the linebackers cover? Tight ends and running backs. So not exactly the math I want. They're actually a little better of a tackling team than I expected, but they're more like they're like average.
Where are the tackles happening though? It's like when people say, "Oh, my linebacker had 1 billion tackles." Yes. Where did they happen?
It's great that you say that because Next Gen Stats has a stat called first opportunity depth, which is where you make the first opportunity is. How deep is it? Oof. And they are at 4.8, which is tied for the fourth highest in the NFL. So exactly what you just said there, Charles. Yeah. And the teams above them are the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Jaguars, who played a little better, have played a little better, but they've had some moments where it didn't look so pretty. But no, that's the thing is like I trust Dennis Allen. I have seen proof of concept of Dennis Allen with maybe not the best pieces putting together competent defenses. It's just they got to get healthy, and that's the thing is like, oh yeah, they'll get healthier, but it's like when. Or like we can just say that they're going to get healthier, but they have to get healthier. Like one guy gets healthy, another guy gets hurt. So that's really the big issues. And when you're weak on the back end like that, or unhealthy on the back end like that, all right, well, we need to be stout along the spine, because that's what kind of saves your game. Like it doesn't matter what your pass rush is or anything, or you don't even have to defend the ball if you're not stopping the run. And like you just mentioned, Grady Jarrett, they're not very big on the interior, and now all their linebackers are potentially hurt in this game. So again, it's just kind of playing to what the Steelers like to do. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't throwing ball over the middle. He hasn't done that in a half decade because he doesn't want turnovers. But the thing is like, I wonder if Arthur Smith can coax a couple out of them, because this is the game that do it. Like they have to defend the run. They have to put bodies up there. And then now you have backup linebackers going every which way. I think the Steelers have a lot of motion. They try to. I know Rodgers doesn't like that, but I think this is the prime game to do it for them. Because, I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. It's like the Steelers offense isn't perfect, but this is a good matchup for them. I think a lot of teams have good matchups against this unhealthy Bears defense.
Yeah, unhealthy, and man, just like I said, the early down stuff has just been nasty for them. I really thought this was going to be a better unit than it was, but they got to get back to the drawing board and pump in some talent, man.
I know. It's just, the thing is sometimes when you look at a unit and it's like, oh, they have this guy. Like my thing about the Bears defense, like the last 2 years was like, they have a lot of good players. Like there's no weakness. There's a lot of B's and above. It's kind of like the Colts offense in a way. It's like a lot of B's and above. And then this year, it's like, that's the thing is like their weaknesses are really weak. So it's like, who cares? Like, if Montez Sweat, he's been okay, but Montez Sweat, I really like Austin Booker on the edge, but it doesn't matter. We'll just run it up the middle because you can't defend that, or we'll target the slot because you can't defend that because Kyler Gordon's been hurt. So it's just kind of like those weaknesses are weak. All right. What hasn't been weak though, this Bears offense, which I just wrote about. So check it out on Yahoo. The second most explosive offense in the NFL, the most explosive run game in the NFL, best run game that the Bears have literally ever had this millennium, potentially ever, probably since like the 80s, when Sweetness was running for them. Going against the Steelers defense that's played better, especially that Colts game, has played a little better, but also has had, some indifferent performances lately, Chargers game as well. What do you think about this side of the ball, Chuck? Bears offense, Steelers defense.
Well, when I was going through my some of the early down stats, it's funny the discrepancy between the Bears offense and the Bears defense. The Bears defense, they're basically bottom three on first and second down. Bears offense, 10th in EPA per play on early downs. Yeah, they got the fifth highest success rate, which is hilarious because watching DeAndre Smith makes me want to scream. Like, and I say this as someone who loved watching him in college. Like, it's like he has blinders on, but he's just athletic enough that you still kind of want to keep just giving just enough carries because he'll break something every once in a while. So
yes,
it sounds crazy, but that fifth in rushing success rate, I swear to God, is leaving meat on the bone. It's leaving meat on the bone. Like there's more that they can pull out of this. Yes, like if you,
I know. I just wrote about that. I said it's not even perfect, and they lead the league in just running back runs. They lead the league in success rate, like with DeAndre Swift as your running back. Like, so sorry to cut you off, but I completely agree because I had the same observation.
I would say, Ryan Poles, if you're listening, there is a very lonely running back on the Miami Dolphins that could use a couple friends. Go get him. I think it'd be a good idea for your squad.
Yeah. Tyler Allgeier's a free agent after this year.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like, go sign one of them. Like,
they're amazing in this offense.
Close. They are so close, man. And I think people have kind of cooled off on the Caleb Williams hate, which is good because I thought people were being really weird about him earlier in the season and kind of applying like an unreasonable standard that you also weren't applying the quarterbacks who were drafted in the same class as him, which was a little bit strange. But I think at this point in the season, most people are on board that this guy's going to be starting in Chicago for a really long time, which is not all that surprising if you just followed everything about his career up until this point. Now, I say that to say, I still think there's like some spots where, maybe the Steelers can have some advantages just when you look at, it's confusing because I don't think many of their players are playing well, but they also have put together like some solid performances recently. But maybe like on the back end, they can like pull off some turnovers because there's still some really shaky wide receiver play with the Bears at times. Like DJ Moore on Sunday was awful. Another game where he just wasn't really locked in, and the landmarks on the route timing's wrong. He's dropping the ball. It's making everyone look inaccurate. And, if there's a team that capitalized on mistakes like that, it's this one because that's what they historically have been. But then I start to like dig through the personnel and I get a little bit lost. I'm like, okay, well, which player is supposed to win here? Because not like Jalen Ramsey's had a good season, and he might even be suspended for this game depending on what happens with the whole Jamar Chase fallout. He's a safety now. Like I would hope that they don't suspend him for this game because we all saw that video and that was crazy what Jamar Chase did. But if he's out for this game, then like who's supposed to step up? Like Joey Porter Jr. I think he's good, but he's had some moments where he's been gettable this year too. So who here is actually supposed to step up and stop? And that's the question that I can't quite come up with because I see the numbers. I see that they've improved over the past month, but I still think if you're Chicago, you should be able to look at this like, if we organize this right, and we can get some of those linebackers like they've been prone to do, just overrun on the second level and kind of hunt these cutbacks, then you can still score a lot of points in this game. So it's a whole lot of roundabout saying, like, I don't understand how the Steelers have these numbers because I don't think that they're playing very well. I don't think that they've had a lot of players who have like really stepped up this year. Like some of their frontline play has been better. Like Keanu Benton has definitely improved from where he was at the start of this year. But overall, it still just seems like a shaky defense. I don't really see why Chicago wouldn't be able to kind of continue what they've been doing. Granted, DJ Moore decides to catch some passes this week.
Yes. And hey, man, it might be Luther Burden get more reps, and Luther Burden's shown some more polish. He had a drop too, of course. But he had we mentioned DJ Moore. DJ Moore got a run on third down. I tweeted this. And Luther Burden, they asked Luther Burden, the rookie that I would consider was very unpolished and very, I would say, loose and sloppy with his rules and everything. Thought he would take some time. And he's really showing a lot. They asked him to do the pin block on Andrew Van Ginkel. And Luther Burden, scrapped, man. And I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. That's not how I envisioned him in the NFL. So I thought that was really cool that they trusted him with such a key block and he executed. I know that's just kind of nerd stuff I kind of gush about, but that's real. That's the stuff that leads to, okay, next play, we're going to design something for you. And they are. Then they're giving him more stuff. But, that's just an aside to say, they're trying to get him going because I think they're frustrated with DJ Moore at times too. No, I'm really just trying to figure out the Steelers defense. I think they're impossible to figure out. If Alex Highsmith was out there, I'd feel a little bit better and know what they can do and win in pass rush. But he's not. And I think that's a big difference on what they want to do. I will say that some of the strengths of the Steelers defense line up with what the Bears do well in offense. The Bears run the second highest rated play action this year. Since their bye week, they have the most, Caleb Williams has the most yards in the NFL off play action, nearly 600 yards. And the Steelers are second against play action passes this year in terms of EPA allowed. So again, that's a strength on strength. I mean, really good against play action. And actually, if I were just narratively scouting this and eye test scouting this a little bit, I would think that play action would be good against the Steelers defense because I don't think their linebackers are all that aware. But actually, it's just how they play because they're so physical up front. They can kind of create some pressure, but also they're so aggressive on the back end and how they close things and run things off. They like to cut a lot of things. So that makes some sense stylistically, but that's strength on strength. This Bears run game, you already hit on it, is really, really good. And I think that's what's going to be the deciding factor is whether they can get that run game going, whether DeAndre Swift can eat all the meat on the bone. Kyle Monangai, they're getting going. He's playing well. And then the other thing too, just talking about Caleb's growth and everything, he is just getting so much better throwing over the middle. They're sixth in explosive pass rate. And yeah, I know people are talking about completion rate with him. That's not the design of this offense. It's about getting chunks. It's that they run the ball to attack underneath. It's an offensive philosophy I 1,000% believe in. It's exactly my football dogma all the way. Screw your quick game. Screw your stick routes. Screw your swing routes. We are unpinning grenades and chucking things over the middle of the field. Yep. And then we're going to run the ball in the next play. Yeah, baby. And it's all under center. They have one of the highest under center rates in the entire NFL. They're using more motion now since their bye week because their young guys are kind of really getting it. So I looked at this too. As like, I think they'll find some ways. I think the run game is going to decide most of it more than Caleb, as much as people want to make a big deal about that. He's playing really well. I would say he's playing at a top 10 level right now. And I think I'm pretty safe in saying that. At worst, top 12. Like that. You got to do a little numbering in my head. But man, he's playing really good football. The rewatch of him against the Vikings was one of those, again, it's like the Chiefs offense, Packers offense. I rewatch him. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why you threw it that way. That's why you scrambled this way. Like his ball placement, especially throwing over the middle, he's getting more comfortable with bodies. Like that's a real hard thing to do, especially if a shorter quarterback is. I see a linebacker there, but I know the dig route's coming behind it. I have to trust I'm throwing to this spot. And my guy's going to be there. And now he trusts it like completely. And it's great to see. It's awesome. But then on top of it now, he's going, all right, I want to throw. There's a play. It was 2nd and 25 or 1st and 25 against the Vikings. He throws a dig route to Roman Dunze, and he throws it. It looks like it's behind. I mean, it is behind. And Dunze, TV copy, I'm like, oh, he missed the throw a little bit. Rewatching it all 22, it wasn't behind. He was just what I call pinning or anchoring on Dunze because there was the defender, the pipe dropper coming right at him. So that's ball placement. So it might go down as an off-target throw, but no, that was ball placement. That's exactly what he wanted to do. So it's like, again, they're growing, they're getting better and everything. And the last thing is he's so good at creating. Keegan Abdu, our friend from Next Gen Stats, has this great stat. Caleb Williams, the Bears have allowed 28 unblocked pressures this year, and Caleb Williams has been sacked 0 times on 28 unblocked pass rushers. That the only quarterback to be over right there, which is an amazing stat and kind of just shows what he's doing. Really good scrambling. Well, Steelers, historically, I mean, this is a Mike Tomlin thing all the way. Really good against scrambles. I think they're the best. Yeah, they've allowed the lowest scramble rate in total this season and allowed the second fewest amount of yards to scrambles this season. And that's always been a Mike Tomlin thing. Him against Lamar Jackson, they always do good stuff too. So another strength on strength thing there, but I'm very excited. But I think it's the run game is going to decide more than anything in this game. Bears, 2.5-point favorites at Soldier Field before they move out to Arlington in a couple of years, whenever our guy Kevin Warren gets that done. It'll be 2038. You'll still be talking about it being done. Yeah, I know. Just ride Caleb Williams to success, man. That's all you got to do. Yeah. You nailed the head coach hire, and you got the quarterback, man, and the whole line's cooking. It's pretty fun. But final predictions for this game: Bears 2.5-point favorites.
I'm gonna roll with the Bears. I think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in this game. I think the Bears' offense is the best offense in this game, and there's advantages for both offenses, but I think the Bears just have a little bit more natural answers with where they are right now, and I'm pumped that this is kind of working out because people, we got to remember we're still in year 2 with Caleb. Like everything that we said pre-draft is still very much in reach. Just because I think brains are so microwaves with how fast we get information now. Sometimes you're like, why didn't this happen like overnight? As long as you see enough things each week to stack and build off of, you should stay optimistic. Like it's like all quarterback prospects are not built the same. Like there's some that you need to give time to, like Caleb Williams or like Drake May, and then some that you don't, like some of their other peers that in the same first round. It's all a baseline, but hit the baseline last year, everything is still in reach. Like Pro Bowl, all pros. Yep. He can still be that guy. So I'm really excited to see it starting to happen for him.
No, I was optimistic about what the Bears would be this year. I kept kind of saying I was bullish on the Bears, and then my little joke when I did Chicago shows as opposed to bearish on the Bulls is that I really do think this is right on time. Like everything is exactly the timeline that I envisioned. And I was thinking that it might be a borderline top 10 offense. It is. It's 10th, I would say, that range, 8th to 12th. I think it's just right on time. And I think Caleb is playing really good football. And I see that the process is good. I know the runaround stuff is people are enamored with that. That is not how he plays. That is not how he wants to play. Just because he can create doesn't mean that's what he's deferring to. It's him bailing plays out more than anything. And I think that's so cool. And it's good process that this whole team is. And also I will say that going into this kind of like for my prediction for this, I will go with the Bears as well. I think it's like a field goal win or a 4-point win. This game has the most playoff leverage of this entire week as far as like what the teams win or lose with. If the Bears win, they gain 21% of playoff leverage. They go from, if they lose, they'll be at 49% to make the playoffs. If they win, it's 70%. For the Steelers, it's 20%. If they lose, it's 36%. If they win, it's 56%. So really big game for both teams, obviously. And yeah, I just think the process is good. And also our 4 units theory. We usually do is like, oh, there's 3 good units and 1 bad unit. This is like the opposite. The best unit on this game is the Bears offense, and the other 3 are average or worse,
Crazy thing to say.
Right.
It's a new world.
I know. With Aaron Rodgers in this game, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm going with the Bears as well. All right. We are going to take our last break, and then we're going to come back with 1 cheat sheet item, Slop watch, and some Hail Marys. See you guys in a sec. All right. We are back. It's time for the cheat sheet this week. Just 1 game on the cheat sheet. This is where we kind of just focus on 1 key matchup, 1 little stat, 1 little factoid, something to watch in this game. We have this is a divisional battle. The other games we previewed, not so much divisional battles. This one is. We got the Eagles at the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 3-point underdogs at home at Jerry World. The over-under is 47.5. Charles, what's your cheat sheet item for this game?
Oh, man. I think if the Cowboys, they can still make the playoffs if they can pull off enough wins in the back half of the season. But in order for them to do that, someone's going to have to make a play on 3rd down, because I started sifting through the 3rd and 4th down stats. Woo, it's a doozy. They got an 81% successful rushing rate on 3rd and 4th down. The Cowboys defense does. So basically 4 out of 5 times you hand the ball off against the Cowboys defense in the high leverage down, you're good, man. You're good. Like, just 51% overall successful play rate. It's abysmal, but it's not like the Eagles offense has been great. So, maybe this is a game where the addition of Quinnen Williams actually matters and you can get over the hump, because last week he looked like he was ready to play. Like he was like, I am free. We're on a team that matters. I got a quarterback, and he busted that Raiders ass. So
he was incredible.
I think like if you're looking at 3rd down stats, that is like a legitimate wrench being thrown here that matters for them in a positive sense. So I think the 3rd and 4th down performance for the Cowboys could decide the game, and Quinnen Williams is going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, I agree. He looked like I'm glad we went on record and we're like, hey, this is a top 10 defender, guys. Like, what are people doing right here? Like, yeah, we can laugh at Jerry, but this was a great ad. And
dude, he was beat down
against the Raiders. It was like, I always use the term. He's a mauler. Like, he just mauls guys. Like, he just throws bodies and just wrecks. Like, he's not a gap shooter. He's not a plugger. He's a mauler. Like, he's awesome. They also have Siobhan Revell playing again. We're playing finally, I should say. Our guy from East Carolina. We both liked him in the draft process. He's just battled injuries. So my little and Lane Johnson's out. Cam Jurgens is out, or has a concussion, but Lane Johnson's out. Cam Jurgens still has a concussion for the Eagles, which is significant. The Eagles have a drop off, or Jalen Hurts does, when Lane Johnson isn't playing, because he's one of the best freaking linemen that we've ever seen. But I had a couple interesting kind of threads to pull out in this, and I agree with you that the Eagles' run game has dropped off a little bit. And I think that's where more of the drop off overall with the Eagles is, more than just throwing balls over the middle and all that stuff, because it's kind of, the passing game is what it is. And I Eagles fans got mad at me for, again, laying out stats that are facts about what Jalen Hurts throwing over the middle. They rely on stop routes or hitch routes and go balls. Like, that's what this offense is. It's the run game that's dropped off. This year, they have a rushing success rate, 39.9%. So it's average, but it's gone from 46% in 2023, 48% in 2022. Last year is 42.5%. It's become good to elite to just average. That's where it's just not feeling as easy with this team. The explosive run rate has dropped. It's the lowest since Jalen Hurts has taken over as a starter. It's 7.5%. But the big number to me is the yards before contact, which is 1.58 this year. Last year is 2.16. So for reference, the Bears had the highest yards before contact this year. It's 2.08. The Eagles were even higher than that last year. The year before that, 1.93. The year before that, 1.98. The year before that, 2.26. Now it's 1.58. That is where the stagnation of this Eagles offense and the consternation is coming from is the run game isn't as dominant as it's been in the past. And I don't think there's going to be an upswing because Lane Johnson's out now. And, Cam Jurgens has been out. Tyler Steen's been okay. Landon Dickerson's faced a bunch of injuries. Mailata's still great, I think. And then they're figuring out their tight ends. For weeks they're running Grant Calcaterra as they're blocking on the outside. So they went with 6 offensive linemen. But now that can't go to that because their 6th offensive lineman, Fred Johnson, is now playing tackle for them. So it's kind of, that's where it all comes from. Like, that's why this offense feels like this. And even Jalen Hurts doesn't run as much. He still scrambles, but he doesn't run on design runs as much. Like their first Super Bowl run, he had 3.7 design runs on non-sneaks. I mean, that's pretty high per game. So that almost 4 QB runs a game. That's pretty high. 50% rushing success rate that year, 12% explosive run rate that year, all elite. This year, 1 a game, 38.5% rushing success rate on those 1 a game, 3.8% explosive run rate. So a part of their offense has been taken away because that was kind of one of their easy buttons. And this has been a thing since that first Super Bowl run. It's happened in 2023. It's gone down every single year. But that is just something they don't do as much anymore. And I think they might have to get to it. Like, I think that will help lift the floor of the offense just a little bit, help create room in the run game, especially when you're all pro, all everything. Right tackle is now out. I just think that's something they might have to get to, especially against, the edge play for the Cowboys isn't the greatest thing in the world. And then the last thing is zone versus man. I think this is just every year with Hurts in the passing game for the Eagles. Hurts versus zone this year, out of 28 quarterbacks with 200 or more attempts, he's 27th in sack rate. He's 28th in dropback success rate. He gets sacked about 10% of the time. His dropback success rate is 39%, 28th out of 28. His explosive pass rate is 22nd. And when he's going against man coverage, his sack rate's 13th, so average. His dropback success rate is 47%, so 14th, average. His explosive pass rate is 15.4%. So he's basically a lot better against man and a lot worse against zone. And I think it's significant. 31% of his throws come outside the pocket against zone. It's because all right, number one's not over. All right, break, contain. But now you're going against a Cowboys team. It's Eberflus, Mr. Zone, top 8 rate in zone rate this year. All right, Fred, now you got Lane Johnson out. Are you going to break, contain like you always do to the right? Like, it's just going to be, it's a weird matchup for them in the weirdest way, even if I don't think the Cowboys defense is great. But yeah, there's just, I think they got to get that run game going. I just think it's going to be a little tough, but maybe the Cowboys defense is a little mouthwash for them.
Yeah. And the Cowboys defense is mouthwash for just about everybody this year. But my man Q in the middle, he's motivated. He doesn't want to die anymore, so he's back.
now you got Quinnen, man.
You see that was the thing with some of the negative reactions to that trade. I'm like, hey, it's not like you fire up Madden and like your players are just there every time you load the game. There's a lot of stuff that happens from Sunday to Sunday, or even from like the end of December to the start of August, where guys might not want to be where they're at anymore. If you just follow Quinnen Williams on Twitter, you knew that already. So now that he's free from somewhere else, I'm not surprised to see he's playing well,
I'm encouraged, too, that it wasn't just a brother thing where Quincy has to be there for him to play well. It's like, okay, you guys are separated. Okay, you're still playing. I think it was just a Jets thing. Yeah, I think so, too. Predictions, Eagles are 3-point favorites on the road.
Rolling with Dallas. I like Dak with his back against the wall. I know it's a tough matchup, but I think our Pound 92 there in the middle is a really big difference maker. And quietly, Kenny Clark had a really nice game against the Raiders, too.
He did.
Like, this is the trickle-down effect from adding a player like that to your defense, you know? Kenny Clark gets to move to DT2. Osa gets to move to DT3, which is probably perfect for him. And now it's easier for the edge players on the outside. So I think they can win this.
Exactly right. Ezra Raku is pretty good too. I want to say before we didn't talk about the more exciting side of the ball is the freaking awesome Cowboys offense versus the really good Eagles defense. So that is just kind of the side to that, but that's just good on good to me. Like even on that, like my notes on it. It's like, I don't know. I think the Cowboys might be able to run it, but it's like this Eagles defense is really good with Jalen Phillips in there. I'm also going Cowboys, but I'm not like I love it. I say Cowboys cover might be more and more comfortable saying, but I actually am going to go with the Cowboys just because like what you said. I think it's an even matchup on the one side of the ball, and I think it's more even than you would expect on the other side of the ball. And I think I did have a note on the passing game stuff. Look for 1-by-3 formations. Sorry, I do have to say this. Look for the Cowboys to go Jake Ferguson, isolated receiver, and 3 receivers on the other side of the ball. Sorry, I had to get this note in because I do think it's significant because you got freaking Quinyon Mitchell, who is allowing a completion rate of 41.9% this year, the lowest by any defender since 2018. So, all right, is Mitchell going to follow Pickens around? And does that make Cooper DeJean now go with who's going to work from the slot against CD? All right, now we got to just how do we attack that third DB, that third corner? Look for 1-by-3 isolated formation there. Ferguson isolated, trips receivers on the other side. That's something. Try and create a mismatch. All right, figured out that one. It's now time for a little. I don't know if you want to call it an uptick or a downtick, either way, but it's time for the Slop Watch.
Warning, this is a Slop Watch.
Slop Watch. This is the game that sucks on paper, but it's worth a spot in the multi-view. And you're going to have it on your multi-view anyways, Charles McDonald.
No, I'm not. I'm done. I'm done.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Falcons at Saints. Saints are 2-point favorites. I know you get a bump for being at home, but they are 2-point favorites against Kirk Cousins and the Dirty Birds of Atlanta. The over-under of this game is 39.5. What do you got for me in this game, Charles, other than an eye roll and a bleh about this game?
If you're just like a sick person and you want to watch like Grandpa go roll out there and get destroyed by the Saints DBs, this is what you should watch because Kirk Cousins' arm is cooked, bro. He can't throw the ball at all. I don't know which game it was. I think it was the Dolphins game that he started this year, the first game Penix missed. I was like, oh, you're not going to be able to trade him. He can't play anymore. Like that's just the reality of the situation. So there's 2 things that I looked at, or that I've been thinking about looking at this game. One, the Rams play the Falcons Week 17 Monday Night Football. Obviously, that is of a lot increased importance.
I thought you were already looking at Week 17 Monday Night Football.
Oh, I'm looking further than that. I'm looking further than that. Yeah, week 17, you have Rams versus Falcons. The Rams own the Falcons pick. Now with Michael Penix out for the season, Drake London could be out for a few weeks. There's a chance for this to tumble pretty bad. And there's a chance where the Rams could be locking in their own top 5 pick with a win against the Falcons on Week 17, which would be perfectly Falcons. And looking forward, we know what happens when you're a bad team who doesn't have access to money because they're going to have to cut Kirk Cousins, which is $35 billion dead cap. You don't have access to a top 5 pick that you obviously desperately need. We are hurtling towards a potential scenario where Archie Manning's grandson is drafted by the Falcons first overall in 2027. And I'm not sure if that would make him happy or sad. I don't know. Because it's not like Archie's the biggest fan of the Saints, but the Falcons are still the Falcons.
Right. Back when I think they were playing in the NFC West back then, the Saints and Falcons.
Dude, if you talk to Falcons fans right now, we're not even thinking about next year. Next year? What the hell is next year? They've got nothing. Hopefully, if I were them, I would put Bijan on ice, Drake on ice, and just roll out whatever you got for a year with a new head coach and new general manager. But, dude, unless they nail the quarterback and pick in 2027, they just ruin themselves for the rest of the decade as far as I'm concerned. It's bad. But, yeah, if you watch Kirk Cousins get destroyed by a not good team, you should turn on this game.
And that's all we got for Slop Watch.
Yeah.
Because that's how, I kind of thought I went on a Falcons rant earlier this week with Matt, which felt weird with you not there. But it was kind of one of those where I was just, every step of the way has been, I told you so. And I feel like none of it got proven wrong. You can go back to every step they've made. Even back when they signed Kirk Cousins and then drafted Penix, I remember going does this mean Cousins is cooked and that's why they're doing this? And everyone's like, no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. But it was they did that. That's exactly why they did that. and also and even that step, if they said, well, if they knew that, they wouldn't have signed him. Exactly. Put him through a physical. and watch tape, and don't have him house hunting before free agency opens and you get hit and you get in trouble for that. I don't know. Every step of the way has just been bad process. Yeah. Bad process by this team. I'm going to guess that you're going to say the Saints win because Kirk Cousins, they're coming off a bye week.
Yes. The Saints win. I've seen Kirk Cousins play. He's terrible now. It's just funny that the Falcons' plan of signing the oldest and drafting the most injured quarterback in free agency and the draft respectively just didn't work out. Wow, the guy who tore his ACL a bunch of times had his third ACL injury? No way.
I love that first report. This is not the knee he hurt before. And I go, that's not a good thing.
Okay. That's even worse, right? I mean, he's got two bad knees.
Yeah, I know. It's like, that's not a good thing.
Yeah. The Penix experiment is done. Now. I would say the Penix experiment is done as far as I'm concerned. I mean, because a diminished version of that's not playable. So you got to move on, I think, or at least have a very serious option to compete.
Well, that's the thing with Penix, who I kept saying, I was like, oh yeah, you can win with him and everything, but that was with a defense that works and a run game that works, and the run game was cooking, but then it fell off, and then there was defenses learned. They had a lot of tendencies that they kind of picked up on. So to me, it was like, all right, we need defensive improvement. All right, where's that coming from? You drafted two guys that are supposed to save you this year. Walker's a hit, but like they still have the same weaknesses next year as they had going into this year. They can't stop the run. They get bullied. So it's like, all right, now we have the same issues. And that doesn't work for your team build if you're going to be a run first team like that. You need a good defense if you're going to run. Like that's just the whole point of it all. So yeah, I'm with you. It's just like you win with Penix, but it's just not it's not going to be good when it comes back next year too, because they just need so much. But yeah, I'm going with the Saints win this one. All right. Let's kind of get a little bit of mouthwash for us. How about this? Let's go on to Hail Marys. I love our weekly Hail Marys. Hail Marys, this is where we throw up a prayer of a prediction. I got my second one of the year last week. I said the Titans and Texans, the over-under was 39.5, much like that Saints-Falcons game. They wouldn't score more than 30, and they scored 29. Nailed it. Charles, you just missed yours with the Bengals losing to the Steelers.
Yeah,
sorry.
Just missed.
Just missed. Coming close to those Hail Marys. But you got one. It's still my favorite of the year was that Panthers call. But Charles, what is your Hail Mary this week?
Look, in the name of the continued nonsense that has happened to me this week, my Hail Mary, it totally contradicts what we talked about in the first segment. But I'm going to stick with it anyways, because I still do believe in the Chiefs. And I still think like they're good, man. Like they're 5-5 on the outside of the AFC playoff race, and they are firmly a Super Bowl contender. It's just both of those things can be true at the same time. So I think with their backs against the wall, my Hail Mary was that the Chiefs beat the Colts by 10 plus points at home. Now, I know that contradicts everything I said in the first segment because I walked myself back and I talked myself into a pretzel, but that is my Hail Mary of the week. Patrick Mahomes goes off, Chiefs win by 10 plus points, and that's the spark that turns their season around.
I like that. It's one of my favorite kind of like sports minds I've known. So one of my dad's friends, and he always that was always his philosophy. He's like, who needs a win? And it was just kind of, like who needs to win in these matchups that you feel they're neutral in a lot of ways? Who needs it more? And I know that sounds kind of like, like we can't see inside locker rooms. We can't. Well, just looking at records, I can tell you who needs a win more. So I like that one a lot. I think that's going to be a fun one to watch. I'm just excited to watch that game. Mine is kind of a nice little bookend of this because this is what we covered in the Slop Watch. I think the Saints run for 150 yards this week. And I think Devin Neal, if you want like a little bonus Hail Mary here, maybe I can get 1.5 points. Devin Neal, their rookie running back, who I really like, is starting to get more touches. He scores a touchdown. That was my other little Hail Mary, just a little quasi Hail Mary in there. I'm trying to think some biblical reference I can make, but I haven't gone to church in a while. But no, Saints run for 150. Everything we laid out. Falcons light in the pants. Saints got a bye week. I think their O-line's got some talent on it that they can maybe run on this team. I know it sounds weird, but I think they really do. So that's what I'm going with. I think they can steamroll this team on the ground at least. Don't even need Tyler Shuck to throw the ball. Charles, that was a doozy. That was good. That was fun. Week 12, the Dirty Dozen. Nice little bow on it. enjoy this weekend, everybody. We're closing it out today. Charles and I will be back Sunday live to recap these games. Week 12 we'll be recapping. So come hang out on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate everyone in there that joins us. So after those late afternoon games wrap up right before Sunday Night Football, we go live. Come hang out with us. I'm Nate Tice. You can find me at Nate_Tice. That's Charles McDonald. You can find him at 4Verts on social media. Make sure to yell at him about Cleveland Browns quarterback takes. Also, subscribe to us, follow us, rate us. Please, 5 stars. Also, please leave some comments, some reviews. Really appreciate that. Whether it's on the shows on Spotify or whether it's just the overall podcast, we'd really appreciate that. But also watch us on YouTube, on the Yahoo Sports YouTube channel, which some of you are watching right now. Make sure to like us there and subscribe to us there. Thanks to Stone, Austin, and Madison behind the scenes for making us look and sound good. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy your weekend. See you guys next time.